It's been quite some time, but Season 4 of the ERL FG Series has arrived on Sparkplug Motorsport 2, and we've ditched the ERL 01s for the O2s out on track then. Season 5 Champ Car World Series driver Grace Hunter here in Jerez. I know the thumbnail says Barcelona, but we have had to move it over to Jerez, and Alicia still in Spain no matter what, for 15 minutes for these new teams and drivers to get to grips with these ERL 02 cars. We got Grace Hunter on the road, rookie Jelly Antonelli from Italy, Dion Chindika from Zimbabwe also out on the road. And, you know, with the vast amount of rookie talent that we've got on this grid, on the field, you would be a hard charge to find more than 3 drivers who have got more than 5 seasons of ERL experience. However, you will find them. Tommy Yu, the Goodhart Racing, partnered with family relative Arnold Yu, and also Lam Fong, who's been in and out of the ERL over time. We've even got a Formula E champion in the form of Akari Lopez, and a Formula E champion team owner in Kazuki Sims Takahana, who is now coming out on the road, almost at the wall coming out of the pits, which, I mean, I don't need to be the one to tell you that would not be any way beneficial to these drivers to hit the wall coming out of the pits, because it just means that you have to get that car repaired. Your team loses out on valuable track time, which you do need just to know how quick you can push these cars with the 13 minutes that you've got left on the clock. Daniel Ortega, by the way, guys, back in the ERL, partnered with Brock Walker down at Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing. I'll give you guys a more comprehensive rundown of the order by the end of the session when all of the times come in, and we do have confirmation that we should have a very short race around Jerez to give you guys as well, but it's a 50.709 for Grace Hunter, the fastest time of the test so far. Daniel Ortega, the Spaniard, about to set a lap here. Dion Chindika goes 2 tenths behind Hunter, but sets the fastest final sector of anyone with 12 minutes on the clock. Jelly Antonelli steals that fastest time and the fastest final sector, 3 tenths up. Brock Walker with the fastest opening sector of anyone, the New Zealand driver in the number 2 Sarah Fisher car, sponsored by Dollar General, rather, with some alliance with Ed Carpenter Racing in IndyCar, which is why the livery is somewhat similar. Nicholas Sasaki returning to the ERL, setting what is now the 5th fastest time. The Nunez Race Tech, set up by the Formula E driver with the same last name. Romeo Matthew, the German, goes 2nd quickest. Brock Walker goes 2nd quickest and runs into the back of, I think that's one of the Trillies. Is that Dominic Vancelau that he's running to the back of there? I think it is. It was the German driver there. Hunter now down into pit lane. Kazuki Sims only 9th fastest, by the way. Not as quick as the Kondo car really is, at least from what we see. And a last-minute inclusion onto the grid there, Radon Nishimura for Overworld Grand Prix. We didn't know if they were going to make the grid for even the preseason test, but they have arrived. If he wasn't available, then Overworld Grand Prix would have brought in Christian Palomino, who, if you will watch the IndyCar preseason test, you will get very familiar with him and that last name. Into the pits though for Radon in that number 16 car, is that? It is the 16. Under 11 minutes on the clock then. Both of the Trackhouse cars and the Hispania Palomino cars out on the road, setting some very quick sectors. Matthias Haas Jr. from Argentina in the 93. Going off the road, his teammate Guillermo Perez sets the fastest final sector of anyone and goes 2nd quickest across the line for Matthias Haas Jr. And he takes that 2nd quickest moniker. Starwin 11th fastest, which is far from ideal. Tanner Bentley goes 5th quickest. Currently fastest man of the day after 5 minutes of running is still Jelly Antonelli, though, as Oboros Chirakumo, the Trackhouse Racing, sets the fastest 2nd sector of anyone. Here we go on board of the 99 as we go to the line. It wasn't a great final sector, but it does take him 5th. It does indeed take him 5th. And this is a driver that some have kept a close eye on. Wisdom Chijoke, alongside Dion Chindika, a wave of African drivers joining the ERL. This Nigerian going 5th quickest. The 4th driver from Nigeria to make an ERL start, joining the champion, a race winner, and a podium sitter. We hope all 24 of these drivers well in their efforts. Jelly Antonelli now going on to a hot lap. Keep my eyes on the mini-map, and I think he has just avoided one of the junior motorsports cars. Let's see Grace Hunter coming across the line then. Is that starting a lap or is that finishing it? I think that's finishing a lap, and no improvement there for the Belgian. But the top 3 stay as they were. Jelly Antonelli, as he's now on a flying lap, at the head of the pylon, followed by the Hispania Palomino duo, and Brock Walker with Antonelli's teammate Wisdom Chijoke running out your top 5. Arnold Yu for Good Heart Racing, 2/10 off of the fastest overall time, but still in that top 10 for Good Heart Racing. Joey Antonelli getting held up behind one of the Grand Slam racing cars with 8 minutes on the clock. And we've now got a lot of drivers. Oh, yellows, and that is for Jackson G's from the Philippines, running into the back of, I believe that's Dominic Vancelau, who once again finds himself getting involved in an incident. Wreck Magnet, thy name is Dominic, it seems. And for the German driver and for the Swiss team, just not what they need, because both of their drivers are outside of the top 15 in terms of lap times. Guillermo Perez on a hot lap once again, with 7 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. And it's at this moment that I'd like to take you guys through the calendar for this season. We start off in Beijing, China, stay in Asia for a few races, Hong Kong and Seoul. Then we go to Santiago, Chile, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Homestead, Miami in the United States. Marrakesh takes us to Morocco for the only African race of this FG Series season. Then it comes the Rome E-Trophy, the Berlin E-Trophy, Amsterdam, Spa, Bucharest, and London for a final half of the title that will keep us in Europe for quite some time. We've now got just under 7 minutes on the clock then. My brother's scrunching a bottle for some reason, and I don't know why. That's Tanner Bentley, currently 8th fastest on a hot lap in that number 11 Grand Slam Motorsport car. Coming through the final corner. Let's see if there's any improvement on the steering wheel. The text is still red, and he goes 4/10 slower than his best overall time. Matthias Haas Jr. I haven't seen Matthias Haas Sr. in the ERL, and he's about level with his best time so far. He stays within a 10th of that range, but remember, he's just under half a tenth of a second down on having the fastest time of the day, and he lost a lot of it going through the end of the opening sector. It's a very long opening sector around this track, and you can see he just continues to not find the time through the high speed. Gets back into the green, and he just needs to hold it through the final corner, and we could see a new fastest time, but yellows in the final sector will curtail that effort. And for Matthias Haas, that could have been the fastest time of the day, and it just will not go to him. Bora Shirakumo then, in the number 99 Trackhouse car. Trackhouse Racing really embracing the light blue and lime green livery in this FG Series season, and taking a lot of curb there as he tries to avoid the traffic. This lap time not looking too good. Almost contact there with the Junior Motorsports car. But as he comes across the line, stays 7th, no improvement. The results of this preseason test will give us everything that we will need to know for the preseason test race. Jackson G's and Maxa Goat were the two drivers who were yet to set a time, but Maxa has just gone 21st fastest. Brock Walker's about to set a lap time again. Almost had a bit of an incident heading down the pit straight though. We'll see these cars almost hit 400 kilometers per hour on the straights, then lock out if they try and go any quicker. Those speeds reserved for Formula E and IndyCar. As we now come through the end of the second sector, the Jackson G's driving the Budweiser Junior Motorsports car. Please drink responsibly. As we now come through that final corner, what is this time going to be like? Yet to set any lap time so far. Jackson G's from the Philippines goes 4th fastest. How about that with 4 minutes on the clock? Fantastic effort there from the man driving the number 8 car. Jackson G's setting an absolutely fantastic lap there with little time left in the session. Now Jelly Antonelli. Oh, we got another yellow down in the final sector. And that is for Dominic Vansalau, who just can't seem to find himself anywhere but in the walls. Currently splitting the field with the 11th fastest time. Victor Levi out on the road. This one's going to be quite interesting to see. Through the final corner for the Brazilian. Let's see what this time is going to be like. And he stays 18th. So, with just 3 minutes on the clock then, Kazuki Sims trying to make sure that he doesn't have the single slowest time of the test. Now on to what could be one of his last hot laps of the session. Matthias Haas Jr. looks as if he wants to try and set a time here. 400 kilometers as he heads down into the heavy braking point. On what is his 8th lap around this track, he clears his teammate. Swings it a bit wide there, goes over the white line, but doesn't get hit for that. Over the curb there for the Japanese driver, driving for a Japanese team. Through the final corner, he's gained a lot of time on this lap. This could be something absolutely fantastic. And it is fantastic as Tanner Bentley goes 3rd quickest. Kazuki Sims is fastest of them all with 2 minutes on the clock. Beat that, he says. And there's little time to do so. Danny Ortega currently being shown up by his rookie teammate. Not looking too good right now, trying to clear the traffic on what is his 9th lap on the track. No, it's his 8th. Oh! That's into a start. Is that? It is the number 97 Trackhouse driver from India, who the Spaniard is running to the back of. That could curtail almost everybody's lap here. Matthias Haas on the other side of the track. I think Dion Chandika might just continue his lap, but with just about 70 seconds on the clock. That was really scruffy from a man who should know quite a bit better than that. In both instances, Matthias Haas then not really setting the timing screens alight with under a minute on the clock. Max Goat currently slowest of them all, now on a hot lap. Matthias Haas from Argentina stays 4th quickest. Chandika stays 23rd as we've got a yellow for Dong Su, the first Indonesian driver from the in the ERL rather, collecting one of the Grand Slam cars there. Couldn't figure out which one it was. Max Goat bailing on his lap, or Boris Shirakumo, the only driver out on the road on a hot lap, getting a bit of dirty air going through that corner, and unlike Sims, unable to reach that 400 kilometers per hour mark. As a result, doesn't take as much of the off-road as the Japanese driver did. And the checkered flag is now out here in Spain, and Wisdom Chijoke actually will be able to get a lap in. A lot of drivers came into the pits, but what is this going to be for Oboroshi Akumo? Stays 10th. Matthias Haas will come across the line, hoping that he can stay 4th. Now, Wisdom Chijoke, fastest opening sector. He's in the green. He was about a 10th and a half up on his previous best time. And he needs to make up about a 10th if he wants to be in that top 5 for the preseason test race. Akari Lopez, the only other driver out on track. And he'll complete his lap first. That looks like a stunning lap there from the Filipino. And he goes quickest for Mugen Motorsports. What is this going to be for Wisdom Chijoke? And it's going to be a front row and identical lap time. Unbelievable. At the end of the session, when the times came flying in, Season 15 ERL Formula E champion Akari Lopez coming down to the 3rd division, showing them who's boss, and going quickest in the preseason test. Wisdom Chijoke, though, setting the exact same lap time to the 1,000th of a second. That is unbelievable. This is one of those rare moments that you just gotta take in it for a bit. And for Wisdom, here's some words of wisdom for him. This is likely not going to be the end of it. Kazuki Sims setting the 3rd fastest time. The Kondo Racing being within half a 100th of a second of the fastest times of the day. Jelly Antonelli with the 4th fastest time was fastest for most of the session. Then came Tanner Bentley, the Hispania Palomino duo of Matthias Haas Jr. and Guillermo Perez. Then Jackson G's, Brock Walker, and Arnold Yu, the top 10. Oboro Shirakumo was 11th, followed by Victor Levi and Romeo Matthew. Then Dominic Vancelau, Lam Fong, and Grace Hunter make up the entirety of the top 16. And then for the back few then, who just about managed to stay in the 50-second bracket, aside from Maxugo, who was slowest of them all, Ridon Nijimura, followed by Daniel Ortega, the Spaniard, likely just needing a clear track more than anything to set a similar lap time compared to everyone else. Vivla Sasaki, 19th quickest from Dongsu and Star. Then came Tommy Yu, Dion Chindika from Zimbabwe, and Maxa Goat. Alright, on the other side will come the pre-season test race here at Jerez. And in that little break, it has started raining. Akari Lopez starting on the pole from Chijoke and Sims. Then came Antonelli, Bentley, and Matthias Haas Jr. Guillermo Perez will start 7th from Jackson G's and Brock Walker. Then comes Arnold Yu, Oroboro Shirakumo, Victor Levi, and Romeo Matthew. Dominic Vancelau starts 14th from Lam Fong and Grace Hunter. Then comes Radon Nijimura, Daniel Ortega, Vivla Sasaki, Dongsu, Star, and Tommy Yu, with the back row being Dion Chindika and Maxa Goat. Greenwald intermediate tires strapped on, then it's time for the preseason test race in Season 4 of the ERL FG Series, and we are underway for 6 laps here in Spain, and it's a good getaway there from Kazuki Sims, who's got some great experience in this weather. Can't quite get it going as they come through turn number 1. Akari holding on to the race lead, and Sims there on the back of the Nigerian driver in front of him. Tanner Bentley moves up into 4th, and we've got a yellow. And that seems to be for Dongsu. It is for the Indonesian driver and for Japan's Radon Nijimura. Both of them off the track. No reason for time penalties in this preseason test race, although I do wonder if they will be implemented. But Akari Lopez at the head of the pack in this little preseason test race. in wet conditions, which for a lot of these drivers, a lot of the rookies, as we've already seen, could be taken as quite the baptism of fire, despite it being quite wet. 8/10 the margin out in front. The two drivers racing in black, red, and white. Here's Denny Ortega making the pass on Lam Fong, or does he? The overworld number 15 holding on to 16th place there as Vivla Sasaki for Nunez Race Tech looks for a pass, and it just doesn't open itself up to it. 4 to go as Nijimura will come in, likely just going for a bit of a glory run then, looking for some fastest lap times, as Akari Lopez setting the fastest first sector, the only driver with a truly clear road in front of him. Boro there in the number 99 Trackhouse car, trying to make it up into the top 10, although considering the conditions, it might just be a little bit smarter to not think about making up ground, maybe just try and get a little bit of data for the teams to figure out how well these cars, with the setups that they've got, how well do they run in traffic. Kazuki Sims with the fastest time of the race, 53.286. Through turn 1 we go again, halfway through this preseason test race. And Nijimura, what is he doing out there? Well, he's taking a bit of the off-road, which is not what you want to do in any sense of the term. But in any case, Akari Lopez still at the head of the pack. Philippines, Nigeria, Japan. What a top 3 in terms of nationalities. And then you extend that down, you've got America's Tanner Bentley, Italy's Joey Antonelli, and then Argentina's Matthias Haas Jr. It is such a diverse grid that we've got this season. And just taking that one season off, making sure that these O2s were ready, and just gathering all the teams and drivers to get this show on the road, it seems like it will pay off for the 13 races that this championship will host in Season 4. And on lap 4, Lopez still leads, the gap not opening or closing too much. It's not really a track where you can pass too well, it's more focused around making sure that you can get all the data that you need. 2 to go in the first FG Series broadcast here on Sparkplug Motorsport 2. As we now come through the final corner, it is a very short lap. 50 seconds we already saw in the dry conditions in qualifying. And as we're now on the penultimate lap, the single file train continues, headed by the 5 for Mugen Motorsports. Wonder if it would have been any different had the heavens had not were not to open, rather. But that's many an if and or but. Around the hairpin then. Wonder how good Nijimura's lap times are looking as we come across the line then. Well, maybe it's the fact that he's not running in the pack and not getting a good slipstream down the straights. Maybe that could be an issue in terms of the pace of the overworld car. He's 46 seconds off of the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Dongsu has actually caught the back of the pack despite the damage. We're now onto the last lap of this preseason test. Wisdom Chijoke on the back of Akari Lopez, just couldn't find any opportunities to go for an overtake. Every time he got close, Akari just stayed away. But the Nigerian does go fastest in the first sector. You wonder if he's actively thinking about making that pass happen. But that 5, the Mugen Motorsports, still at the head of the pack. Akari matching Wisdom's pace in the opening sector into the second. And as we now come through the final corner, the man who will win the preseason test race in Season 4 is Akari Lopez, and he will take home the fastest lap of the race as well, at 53.105. Oh, Dion went fastest in Sector 3. Ain't that interesting? I wonder if Radon Nijimura, by the way, well, he's just gone fastest in Sector 2, if he can pull off a fastest final sector, there is a possibility of the fastest lap going to the Tron Aerie-sponsored car. Here we go to the line then. And it is a fastest lap of 53.036. Here is the podium. Don't know why we have a podium for these preseason test races, but it's very interesting sometimes. In any case, Akari going quickest in the test and winning the test race, followed quite closely by Wisdom Chijoke and Kazuki Sims. All three of these drivers actually set fastest times in this race, followed by Tanner Bentley, Jelly Antonelli, your top 5, then Matthias Haas Jr., Guillermo Perez, and Brock Walker. This order may seem very familiar to you because it's very similar to the preseason test as a whole. Arnold Yu 10th from Ouroboros Shirakumo and Victor Levi, then came Romeo Matthew, Dominic Vancelau, Grace Hunter, Lam Fong, Danny Ortega, Viblos Sasaki, Dion Chindika, Star, Tommy Yu, Max Agote, Dong Su, and Radon Nijimura, who did set the fastest time of the session. Well then, we're about to go racing then for the first FG Series race in a little bit. After we left Fuji, we weren't sure if we were going to have a Season 4. And it has turned out that we will, just not with the same cars. We'll see you guys next time then for the FGE Trophy of Beijing here on Sparkplug Motorsport 2. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time then when the Formula G Series returns.